Thank you, Dr. Rozina. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good afternoon. Welcome back to this hall for the second part of this seminar today. And thank you very much, although there is a heavy rain outside, and you can still make it, although I can see the numbers actually less than what we have this morning. Okay. Actually, I feel very excited, actually. I feel like kind of jumping. Actually, when our friend Professor Mushtaq was giving his presentation, and before that, Professor Dr. Wayne McIntosh and Larry. And at the end of the afternoon session, I was like feeling, very excited, kind of, I want to, like jumping, because I feel this seminar, even we are halfway through, really we have learned a lot. I myself have learned a lot. Although I have been following actually the development, what is going on in the world of education, higher education in general, and on open education specifically. And yet, when I listened to Larry, Wayne, and also Professor Mushtaq this morning, it kind of rejuvenated me and, kind of inspired me a lot. So I hope I'm standing here. I hope this session is not going to be an anticlimax, because this morning was the climax, I guess. Anyway, the title, this is actually a special presentation to kind of wrap up what we have learned this morning, and to also share what's going on as far as MOOC is concerned in Malaysia. But I guess a lot of things have been covered by the three speakers in the morning session. So in this session, I have to actually modify the presentation in a way that I don't want to repeat the same thing again, if possible. So what I want to do now is actually to share what I believe. It's my belief, and I hope you will share also the same belief regarding open education. And I strongly believe in open education, and to me this is a game changer, and we should be part of this movement or trends in education in general. So we have the speakers have mentioned a few times this morning, MOOC. So by now, I think you should be able to spell fully or to pronounce what MOOC stands for. It's a massive open online courses. So I hope you will register in your head. OER stands for Open Educational Resources, and OCW stands for Open Courseware. Thanks to MIT in 2002 rather, they have launched a number of courses, I think more than 50 courses that they offer to full-time students in MIT as an open online course. And since then, the open education movement has progressed very, very rapidly. So as you can see in the picture, in the previous one, this is actually a dandelion. And you can see actually it spreads out the seeds, and the wind actually blow the seeds away to all over the place, and it will germinate and form a new dandelion. And the pretty picture that you see on the screen now is actually licensed by Creative Commons. As you can see down there, maybe you cannot read. The credit is given to the author. So I'm illustrating the very concept of open educational resources here. And the next picture also is taken from the internet with Creative Commons license. But again, I use the metaphor of dandelion to illustrate, to represent what open education is in the essence, or the gist of open education is about spreading the knowledge, sharing the knowledge, disseminating the knowledge, and reaching out the global learners around the world. I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. You don't have to answer, but you can answer in your own way or in your own mind. If you're given the opportunity to teach the world, would you take this opportunity? Would you grab this opportunity rather than teaching a group of 50, 60 students? Like, in my case, I teach around 60 students on average every semester, or maybe 100 or 200 students every semester. But now, if you're given the opportunity now to go out, to step out from your classroom and teach thousands of students around the world, would you grab the opportunity? Would you jump on the bandwagon of open education and be part of the teacher of the world, teaching the world? And do you want to make a difference? We know very well in education, this, the phrase says that teacher makes a difference. So every single individual here, educators of the 21st century or 21st century educators, we should now look at our roles in different light, in different perspective, in the context of what is happening in the world of education around the world now. So the seminar today is trying to do just that, to provide awareness to educators so that they can see in the context of what is happening around the world, what they are doing now, what they are practicing now in the classroom or outside the classroom, how this can benefit our students, how this can enrich the learning experiences of our students, how this can improve and enhance the quality of teaching and learning in Malaysia and in the world. And the third question, I want to ask you, do you want to be an agent of change? Change is the only constant. So if you are not willing to change, if you want to sit comfortably in our comfort zone, we don't want to go to a great length to do more to help improving the world, the quality of education, then maybe we need to reconsider and revisit our role. So what we have been discussing this morning, Wayne, Larry, and Professor Mushtaq, it boils down to sharing, basically. So we always hear this phrase, sharing is caring. I always use that. Sharing is caring. And it is very much in line, actually, with what United Nations and UNESCO is trying to achieve. Everyone has the right to education. And UNESCO, as you know very well, for quite some time, they have this education for all. But many, many years ago, UNESCO even don't have a clue how to really realize this agenda of education for all. The mechanism, the vehicle to do this, to reach out every single person in the whole world. We are talking about the bottom billion, those countries in Africa, that earn less than $1 a day or $1 a month or a week, I don't know. So we use this term bottom billion. Or even in our country, we know that there are many people in remote area that education is something that is not privileged to them. So what we are discussing today, and the theme of the whole seminar, the global classroom, basically is about reaching out global learners, delivering education for all. And I want to be part of this open education. I want to step out from my classroom. I want to step out from the physical boundary of the classroom, and I want to reach out global learners because I know I have some knowledge, I have skills that I can share with others. Outside the boundary of the classroom, outside the boundary of USM campus, outside the boundary of Malaysia. I would like to share a few personal, just because Professor Mushtaq this morning showed some of the testimonials, so I guess I should show something as well. I've been sharing some of my personal stories, not to show off, but to illustrate a point. But if you think that I'm showing off, well, I'm showing off now. Okay, this is one of the many hundreds of email, I never count actually, hundreds of email I receive almost on weekly basis, this or monthly basis. These are letters, I didn't have the date here. Okay, this is actually from a consultant based in Netherlands, but he sent this email from Vienna. He said this: I love your presentation on Vimeo. Thank you for the pleasure. The video actually was a serious video. It was actually on the processing of palm oil. So I never in my wild imagination that, someone would enjoy the production of palm oil, a serious stuff, and have a pleasure. So anyway, he said, I like it so much that I have referenced it for further consultation by all interests because he's a consultant in the palm oil industry. I wonder if the box of chocolate I'm posting to you from Geneva with my regards will reach you unmelted at your university in Penang. Because the chocolate from Geneva for the cold country, and when it's sent, by the time it reaches Malaysia, probably, it will melt. It is sent not only for the pleasure of having discovered you on the net, but also in remembrance of my past work. Okay, so indeed, when I received this email, I haven't received the chocolate, but a few days after that, this is how the chocolate looks like. You can see actually when I open the box, it's already melted. But anyway, the thought that counts. And this is the postcard that he wrote for me. What is the point of showing you this? The point is now, when we talk about sharing things with people around the world, not only we are disseminating knowledge and spreading out knowledge, but people would appreciate this because, the benefit that they will derive from using this material is something that, we actually never imagined. Because he said, actually, this is there are a few emails after this email. He said it's very difficult to find materials on palm oil in the internet. Of course, because who actually export palm oil? Malaysia and now Indonesia, And you don't expect, people from Europe, US, or UK to write something or to share something on palm oil because they simply don't have that knowledge. So now with this knowledge, now we put it up on any platform on the internet. It is now become open. It's now become accessible, free. So knowledge will expand. So that's the very concept of open online learning. And if I put out something and I want to share it free willingly, I make it free, I make it open. So it's OOC. It can be a full course, so it can be OOC, open online course. But if it turns out that thousands of people enroll in the course, then it will become massive. Then there's a bonus, massive open online course. But if it turns out only 10, maybe hundreds or a few hundreds people enroll in the course, it's still okay for me. I can still call it MOOC, and it becomes mini open online course. If it turns out that only 10% register in the course, it's still MOOC, and I can call it micro open online course. So in the end, I can still call it MOOC, regardless of the number of students. Now, this is the video or the lecture that I produced actually on my iPad only. And this is the video that, the reason why just now I received the chocolate from Vienna. So let me just play very quickly.
Hi, hello everybody.
Maybe I just jump.
Oil palm fruits. Then another process is without using solvent, which is basically we call physical extraction. So you process and also.
Okay, just to illustrate to you the kind of content or material or learning resources that we can actually produce very easily now with all the technology that we have at our disposal. This one was produced using my iPad. a simple, device, very portable, and yet very powerful. So I invest on the highest spec, iPad of the highest spec that I can get. Because I know, let's say this one I spent nearly 3,000, 128 gig. That's the highest spec. If there is a higher spec, I will get the highest spec available. And for every single cent now I invested in my iPad, to me, not only is worth my investment, but it's more than that. So that video was uploaded to YouTube. So I have now over 90, I think about 93 videos or lectures on YouTube. So I use YouTube as a main platform. And the beauty of this platform, you can get the analytics, the data, or maybe Larry would say data. Okay, Larry? So, for example, here you can see this video is the top #1 video in my 93 videos, meaning that this video has been viewed from December 2011 to 2014, about 47,000 views. If I translate one view to one student, then I have 47,000 students. I mean, to make it very simple. Can it qualify as massive? Well, I would say it is massive. And estimated minutes watched, 105,000 minutes, and translate to equivalent to 72 days, 16 hours. All these statistics, you don't have to bring out your calculator to calculate, because everything you can get from the YouTube. Just a click, then you get all the data. Equivalent to 72 days, 16 hours, and 47,000 views. If I teach only about 60 students per semester, so we can calculate how many years I have to teach to reach that number. Yeah? Okay, what else? Okay. And I can go even deeper and further to check all the statistics provided on YouTube platform. And I can see in terms of where these people come from, who actually interested to learn about palm oil. And to my surprise, and I would say it's a pleasant surprise, well, Malaysia, of course, I'm not surprised, because they want to learn about palm oil. But Larry is from the United States. I wonder why they want to learn about palm oil, But these are the kind of statistics, and if I can go down, and I found the viewers, just now 47,000, came from 186 countries. Well, the previous slide say open education is about reaching out global learners. This is the evidence that I have reached out students or learners from 186 countries. Don't you think it's marvelous? Don't you think that I deserve a round of applause for this? Okay, just to wake you up. Okay, just to wake you up so that you are still alert. Then if I check, the first video that I uploaded to YouTube was in 2009, 31st July until now. And now, of that 93 videos, the total views is about 171,000 views. And estimated minutes watched, about 363,000, equivalent to 252 days and 5 hours. This was last night, nearly 1:30 a.m. when I was preparing these slides for today's presentation. So I leave it to you to now visualize, imagine the power of open education. Larry used the term massification. We have 20 public universities in Malaysia. We can only take less than 20% of all the applicants apply for, I think about 20%, 20-something percent of all the applicants to enter the university. What can we do with that 70%? That's what Larry said this morning. Where will they go? Okay, we have maybe colleges, college community, all those things. But then still many people out there that want to have access to higher education, and yet there's not enough physical universities in Malaysia. They can go to private universities, but of course, most of them or some of them maybe cannot afford. Okay, we have PSPTN, the loan, everything. But still, if we want to provide access to education without limit, everyone can have access to education, then to me, this is the answer: open education. Another email that I want to share with you is as recent as July 2014. Hello, I am Emmanuel, a graduate of the University of Ghana with Bachelor of Science in Nutrition and Food Science and current working. My curious and passionate love for food science and technology led me to some of your video lectures on YouTube. I must confess that your simple but perfect teaching methodology, which you use to explore all the topics ranging from food biology to oil technology, has really come in handy for me in my pursuit of becoming a great food scientist. You are not touching lives of only Malaysian students through your devoted teaching method, but also the lives of students all over the globe. So I think probably that is one of the many emails that I received that saying more or less the same thing. So that actually what kept me, moving, working. Although sometimes I find very hard to find time to do all these things with all the other works that I have to do. But this is what inspired me and keep me going, because I know I must continue to do this to produce more and more good quality material. Because as Professor Mushtaq said this morning, on one hand we want to share, but on the other hand we must make sure that whatever that we put and share on the internet is of the highest quality. We have to make sure the accuracy of the facts. We must deliver it in such a way that it really captures the attention, and whoever use the material, they can really learn. If you teach the wrong thing, they will learn the wrong thing. So this is something we need to consider very seriously before we embark on this open education thing. But as in anything, we have to learn how to do things right the first time. And okay, and this is another email. Another course that I teach about food rheology. So this guy happened to be a young researcher. He want to learn about food, what rheology, what is the subject in our curriculum, and he find the video that I have on YouTube is really very helpful. I receive a lot of emails from the teachers or from the lecturers, the faculty who teach the subject. So this is to me the best form of peer review. In research, we send our manuscript for publication, we get peer review. We get the manuscript sent back with minor or major revision, then we do the revision, then we send back and finally publish. Do we have that kind of system for our teaching? Can we invite our colleagues, okay, come and please observe my class and please give your review and comments, and maybe I'll try to improve on your feedback? No, we don't do that. We don't really do that. And this is another lecture, and there's another story behind this. Hi, hello everyone. Before we start, when I show this video, I never go beyond 2 seconds or 3 seconds of this video, because somehow when I see my video there, I feel a bit embarrassed. I don't know why. But anyway, this is about gelatin. Gelatin is one of the very important food ingredients, also very important ingredient in pharmaceutical products. But one of the biggest issues about gelatin is about the halal issue. So one company in US, they discovered this video on gelatin, and actually At that time, they were looking for someone who is expert on gelatin, because gelatin is actually used in a lot of the confectionery products. So they found this video and they thought that I'm the expert on gelatin. Well, I won't claim that I'm an expert on gelatin, but I do some work on gelatin. And then they checked my research paper and they found some of my research paper on gelatin. And so they have become more and more convinced. And finally, they checked my personal website. And finally, they are convinced that this is the guy they can invite to US and to talk, to give a keynote speech in one of the industrial symposium there, everything paid for. So this is, again, to me, what I'm trying to say, the message here is, doing open education, although the philosophy behind this is to share knowledge and so on, but the impact of this at the individual level, at the program level, at the faculty level, at the university level, national level is actually tremendous. So this is actually a very good example to show you how open education can actually give a visibility. So in this case, it does give visibility to me. So I am visible to my peers. I am visible to my, community, food science community, and the relevant community. And you get yourself visible. We can also use open education is actually as a way to position. So we call it positioning. How do you want to position your university? Alias University have done that very well. So now they have positioned Alias University as one of the premier university. They don't mention that it's a best private university, but it's one of the university where people from outside will look at it as providing one of the universities in Malaysia providing good quality education. And they can judge by themselves by following the MOOC course by Professor Mushtaq. And they will see by themselves, oh, if this is a kind of quality of the delivery in the classroom, then they make a generalization that, oh, maybe Alias University is the place where I should go. And it's already it's happening now, right? I remember Professor Mushtaq showed me a few emails from those who are interested to come to Alias via, their MOOC courses. So, this morning Larry has explained quite well, and also Wayne, Dr. McIntosh, that open education now, what are the factors or what are the driving force behind this? So I don't want to explain and elaborate on this, but these are among other things. Globalization, technology, massification, market demand. So we are now living in the knowledge society, we are living in the knowledge economy. Everything is actually based on knowledge. Knowledge and information is power. This is the era of big data. So if you have data and you know how to utilize the data, you know how to analyze the data, and just like the data you use that I show from the YouTube. And by looking all this data, now you can understand the behavior, how our students learn, and we can adapt to the way they learn. Because we know very well that students learn at different pace. Students have different learning style. So how do we differentiate this? If we teach like in the classroom, just like a normal traditional classroom, we don't really differentiate. If you learn faster, good. If you learn very slow, then you're on your own and you try to catch up later. But using open online education now, we can do the so-called differentiated instruction. We can differentiate now. Okay. So sorry. So education today, ladies and gentlemen, let me reiterate what has been said by the three distinguished speakers this morning. Education today in the 21st century, we are now 14 years into the 21st century, in the globalized and connected world is about changing, adapting to changing world. The world is changing around us. In every second, there's so much information being generated. so much video being uploaded to YouTube, so much tweets being tweeted right now as we speak, as I speak. So how and what we teach has to change as well. That is the main message and perhaps the take-home message today. If we want to change, then we'll become, as I think that I have the next slide to show you, we can become irrelevant. Or someone said we can become a dinosaur. That's the fact. So again, I would like to reiterate that today, our seminar today, the theme is global education. It's all about reaching out global learners, delivering education for all. Having said this, with all our, sometimes we say rhetoric. We have big dreams, but we have small deeds. How do we embark on open education, and yet, when we go to any classroom today in USM or other universities or even other places in the world, it's still very much in the classroom. So this is what this slide says here. Our classroom is very much treated like a closed system, like this hall. What happens in this room remains in the classroom. What happened in this room remains here within these four walls. Sometimes we have a meeting and say, okay, this is something that is, PNC, everything that we say here remains here within these four walls. So how do we now expect to talk about and to implement open education, and yet what we are doing now is still very much in the confine of the physical classroom? It's a closed system. And sometimes we use the term this classroom as a secret garden. Secret garden. And there's a book called The Secret Garden. Everything that in the classroom is a secret here. Happen in the classroom, nobody knows, there is no accountability and so on. How do we move away from this notion of secret garden to open education? So I urge all my colleagues here, educators that are here in the hall now or listening from our live streaming, we need to step out from our classroom. We need to reach out people outside the physical boundary of our classroom. So the way forward, ladies and gentlemen, from my perspective, I'm not expert in education. I'm just a humble food technologist. But from what I understand, from my understanding, and this is what I aspire, what I dream. Martin Luther King said, I have a dream. Then I want to say, I have a dream too. My dream is, in the future, before that, this guy, his name is John Landau. We met him 2 years ago in Las Vegas. He was the first keynote speaker in the biggest educational expo and conference in Las Vegas, and he was the first speaker. He was actually talking about the use of technology, how they developed technology that actually not existed at that time for Titanic and Avatar. He was a producer of Avatar and Titanic. The director was John Cameron. And it was a very interesting talk, but he tried to relate technology and education, and this is what he said. And it's such a powerful word that actually I have memorized it now. And this is what he said. The 21st century educators, educators in the 21st century are at risk of becoming irrelevant. When I show this slide in some of my presentation, sometimes I get someone to challenge. Then he said, no, I don't agree with that. I disagree. He said, no, teachers are still relevant. Then my answer is always, yes, I totally agree with you. I'm not going to argue with you. I didn't say this. John Landau said this. To me, with all the technology, everything that we have, the role of teachers are still irreplaceable, still indispensable. So, John Landau said this in the context of the world as a global classroom. So our theme today is the global classroom. Why he look at the world as a global classroom? I think maybe you can guess now, by now. Because now we can go to the internet and we can search, we can go to hundreds or maybe thousands now of platforms like Open Yale University. Then, what do you want to learn today? I want to learn about finance. I'm food technologist, but I want to know something about finance. So I go to Yale course, Open Yale course, and here we have Financial Market by Professor Robert Schiller. And the quality of the courses you can find on these platforms are very, very high quality. What do you want to learn today? I want to learn chemistry. One of my favorite subjects is chemistry. But I want to learn more about chemistry. I can go to any platform, I can find chemistry, the best quality delivered by the best professor. iTunes U. So I'm just showing you some samples of where you can find all this free stuff. Excellent quality. That now, if you happen to teach the same course, and you find the resources on this platform, and you find, whoa, excellent stuff. And why should I reinvent the thing and produce the same thing again? I can tell my students, go to iTunes U, you find all these resources, you study before you come to the classroom, and when you come to the classroom now, we will do activities together in the classroom. We can have more discussion, we can have more reflection, we can have more problem solving together. So if you are talking about using the classroom time effectively to inculcate skills, to impart knowledge, this is the model that we want to use. Today, I don't have time to talk about flipped classroom. If you Google flipped classroom or flipped learning, if you are not aware yet, you will find millions of hits about this. And people around the world are looking into this model to improve delivery in the classroom, so that our students no longer stuck at the low level of Bloom taxonomy. Now we want to take them to the highest level of Bloom taxonomy. But with the traditional model that we are using now in the classroom, I can say it's not possible. But we have to look at alternative model that we can use in order to reach those level where students now can think, students now can do problem solving, students can do critical thinking, students can improve their communication skill, they can articulate their ideas clearly, they can express their thought clearly, verbally, in writing, and so on. These are skills, a long list of skills that we need to develop. We need to embed this in our curriculum. We need to deliver this in the classroom. But with the traditional model that we are using now, I don't think it's possible. We have to think and we have to look at now a new culture of learning. The trend now is learning on demand. You can learn anytime, anywhere. Learning on demand, the concept behind it is, if I want to learn something just in case, then I can find the material here and there. If I want to learn something just in time, when I need it, then I will do that, because there's a huge repository out there in the internet. And I just want to learn something just enough. I always use the example, baking the chocolate cake, because it's a story related to me by Professor Hanafi. Her daughter wants to learn about how to make a chocolate cake. She just find a YouTube video and follow the step by step, and finally she got the chocolate cake. But she doesn't want to learn about how to make cheesecake, chiffon cake. She just wants to learn about making chocolate cake. Just enough. And just in time, just for me. Become personalized and customized to suit the individual. So that is learning on demand, anytime, anywhere. And finally, I think I don't have to say more about MOOCs. Perhaps the three speakers have convinced you enough about MOOCs. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the world of MOOCs. I thought I have 5 more minutes.
Yes, you have 5 more minutes, but we won't allow any questions.
Okay.
But if you have questions, do feel free to ask any questions.
Yes, maybe we just leave it for the forum lah.
Forum, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Professor
So thank you.
Abdul Karim.